This is another episode of I'm going to restart that because I didn't know what
I'm
That
leaving
was
that in.
incredible. That was
I'm leaving
incredible.
that in.
because I forgot we didn't really have an official title. Okay, I'm going to
I'm leaving that in.
Love,
No,
love to see it.
Joey Muse is going to clip it. I'm already get roasted every week now. This is a new episode of the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. Tried that again and worked a little better this time. We're back for another episode after taking a week off because of Thanksgiving festivities and lots of busy tournaments and games and all that stuff. So we got plenty of news to talk about here this week. I'm Sydney Wolf, as usual, joined by Peter Rodney and Drew Steele. Got plenty of big pieces of news to talk about. Peter, how are you doing? It's been a busy week, I know, for YHH people here over the Thanksgiving weekend.
It's been a super busy week. We had the Gobbler over the weekend, which is our only tournament that is reserved specifically for B-level teams. So we had 32 teams between the Pee-wees and the Bantams. And then on top of that, we tried to do Friday Night Ice. As we do every year, we have Friday Night Ice on the Friday after Thanksgiving. So I feel a little bit bad for the kids that played in the Gobbler because everybody's mind is on Friday Night Ice because it's not just the broadcast, right? Like we're responsible for the teams getting there, what time they got to get on the ice, what time is the JV game going to be done? Are we Zamboniing after the first period or the second period for the JV game? How short can we make the warm up because we're already late getting on the ice because the Gobbler game ran over? Oh my God, we don't have an extension cord for the broadcast. Oh no, what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, we need to tape down these cords. This is crazy. So it was a very long weekend, and now my hair matches where my brain is right now. But I'm excited to be here and talk a little junior hockey with my buds Drew and Sid.
Oh yeah, and Drew, how's it going in Mad Caps land over there?
Yeah, it's good. It's busy. We had the weekend off, but somehow, some way, junior hockey always finds a way to make your one-off weekend a year one of the most busiest weeks of the year. And I'm sure we'll get into it at some point here early on. But yeah, no, it's a good day for Caps fans out there. And yeah, we're excited to get into it.
Yeah, well, we got plenty to talk about today because we did not record last week. So, got plenty of things on the show rundown today. And I guess we'll start with like the most recent things. But first, obviously, want to thank our sponsors, the USHL and APX. The USHL, obviously, we love the USHL. We have tons of USHL news to talk about today. Plenty of positive stuff. We got some new venues to talk about, which is super cool. Some up and coming players signing tenders. We got guys making a splash, kind of guys on hot streaks here, and just plenty of news to talk about. We love the USHL, and obviously we got so many good prospects playing in the USHL right now as well. And we'll talk about APX a little later. But kind of the big news of the day for the league and for Madison, obviously, too, Drew, was there's going to be a new venue for the Caps next season, which sounds super cool. I saw kind of the pictures or the mock-ups of it online, and it looks pretty dang cool, and it sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, it'll be sweet. I'll pull it up. I have a couple tweets loaded up, but yeah, it's a cool like entertainment district to be kind of what I would put it as, just all around it. I think it'll be a spot where kids want to come and play, and I think that's the whole point in junior hockey. It's great to see teams in the USHL get new buildings. I know Chicago's got one on the way, and the commissioner, which I have its tweet, teased a couple more coming at some point. But I think it's awesome just in general to be a part of it with a new building, a bunch of new toys come with it. The outdoor space is going to be sweet too. I know we're the hockey side of things, but there's going to be like concerts and stuff right outside the arena throughout the year, throughout the summer. And then that space outside turns into an outdoor rink too. So that'll run for 4 months during the winter, November to March. So it'll be sweet once everything gets finalized and we can get over there. But we're really excited about it. I've had to bite my tongue on this one for a couple months here. I do my best to give some breaking news on the pod. And obviously I couldn't break this one on the pod. I might not have a paycheck coming back the other way, which kind of important on that side, but no, it's sweet. I mean, a project to be involved with. I've been over there and toured it a couple of times. It's kind of done right now. I think they have practices going on and they have to like stop construction because of the winter on some of it too. So there's like some youth hockey practices and games going on there right now, but it's nowhere near finished, which makes me excited too. You get to see kind of that blank canvas when you walk in, and I get to imagine it because I know what's going where. Obviously, we went artistically with the drawings to make sure people see what that vision is going to be eventually. To have more seats is awesome because right now I think we were one of the smallest buildings in our league, and that was at 2,600. Add an extra 400 seats, but it also adds that entertainment district. It adds to a fan experience side of things, where there's a Mexican restaurant next door, there's a brewery in the same little plaza, there's a bar and restaurant inside the arena too. So it's sweet. I mean, I think it's awesome for our team to be able to put ourselves in a spot where we can recruit the best of the best in today's junior hockey sphere, whether we're talking about hiring a chef who's going to eventually run the bar and restaurant there, but he's also feeding our players breakfast and lunch. I know this kind of went on to be a long Madison rant, but there are more teams just doing that sort of thing. Like I know Omaha's feeding their players breakfast, lunch every day. To get the player treatment higher and higher allows the USHL to compete with those other leagues. That investment throughout, and obviously a whole new building is going to be part of that investment. Chicago, with the Blackhawks ownership, they're moving downtown Chicago, which I know we kind of touched on with Chicago coming. So that's one of two, Chicago and Madison. The commissioner, though, teases two more arenas coming soon. Here's my breaking news that I'll have for it. I won't say the teams. One of the teams I think will surprise fans that they're getting a new arena.
Okay. Well, that's a good tidbit because I saw that too, Drew. I saw that tweet from him that just says, and two more in process. So we'll see whenever those get revealed because he said in his tweet that obviously today this is the second team to announce a new facility for next year, so 26, 27, and two more in process. So I assume if it's for next year, they'll probably announce it fairly soon. So we'll see if we know soon here or not.
Yeah, I would think you'd have to announce it soon. I
Yeah,
think you'd if it's for next year. If it's not for next year, maybe it's down the line. I just know that one of the two teams, when I heard new building, I was like, huh, why are they getting a new building? But that's just another example of a team expanding, doing their thing and rocking at it. So they get a bigger space to keep doing their thing at a larger scale.
Yeah, and Drew, have you been to all of the USHL venues?
I've been to a good chunk. I've been to
Most of them?
I would say probably 10 of the 16 at this point. I don't go on the road all the time with the team. I don't know if you want to check out my TikTok. Go ahead. I've been throwing those up with some arena tours type things. Sadly, we've only been to Cedar Rapids like for day trips recently, so it's a lot of I'm on ice content on my TikTok right now. But yeah, no, it should be up there towards the top of the league in terms of fan experience. And I think another key piece here too with that arena is 3,000 seats. Now, I'm not saying that it's not awesome when the Rush Center is packed to the gills, as I adjust my eyeball there. Great. But I'm not saying it's not great when the Rush Center is packed to the gills when it's 8,000, but most teams in this league average around 2,200 going through their doors each night. I think this allows the building to still have an awesome atmosphere while still having the room to grow a little bit on our organization side. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, apologize to anyone who doesn't care about the Caps getting a new rink, but you might be listening to the wrong pod if I'm on it and you do care.
Well, I haven't even been to that many. I think I was just counted. I think I've only been to 5 rinks, so I think I need to expand that a little bit because I think I've been to, let's see, Green Bay, Madison, Chicago, Fargo, Sioux City. So I think I got to expand mine a little bit and hit up a couple more here. Peter, I don't know. How about you? Have you been to a couple of these or not too many of them?
I've been to one.
One? Okay, well, at least you
I've
got
been to
one.
Fargo.
Fargo? I feel like that's the easy one for most Minnesotans, at least.
Yeah, we went to a Fargo Force game as part of a journalism class that I was in when I was in college. So over 10 years. Wow, I feel freaking old now,
It's
guys.
been a while.
It's been a while since I've been to a USHL game. I was going to go down to the Cedar Rapids game for Carlson's 500th or record-breaking win or whatever, but what did I have going on?
Yeah,
I had
was it
something
Ryan that
like,
went down there? Someone was
yeah,
down there.
Ryan
Okay.
Maney went down there. I was on my honeymoon. That's what it was.
Oh, well, obviously
So
that. Yeah.
I traded Cedar Rapids for Glasgow, Edinburgh, and London. So
I think that makes
I think that counts. I think it counts as a valid excuse. But I got one question for Drew. Is there a facility or an entertainment district that the Caps based their renderings on, or is there an did somebody from the Caps go to like the SunTrust Park in Atlanta and say, holy cow, I want something like this, where it's just a row of restaurants and shops and shit that moves all the way up to the stadium?
I don't know if there was one specifically. I know that those are popping up all over the place. Like I know you mentioned SunTrust. Busch Stadium in St. Louis has something similar where there's stuff right outside the stadium. I think the Texas Rangers have one. I just think that working with the people, the developers, and everybody involved, I know there's a lot of apartment buildings going up around that area too. So that'll be exciting to have those fans built in. So I don't know exactly if there was one, but there is a lot of inspiration out there. And it's something that this city doesn't really have. Obviously, you look at the Kohl Center, you look at Le Bon downtown, they're on campus. So you don't have those sort of bars right outside. You have a couple blocks away and you have State Street downtown. But to have a bar, a Mexican restaurant, a brewery, there'll be all sorts of activities in the summer. Like I know we're working on like movie nights where we'll put a projector up. There's a stage there for concerts, which I think you've seen in the renderings at this point. So like hopefully we're bringing in big acts and we're able to make this some place where not just during hockey season, but also outside of hockey season, fans want to come and want to take in the spectacle we have going here. So I'm excited for the summer. I know it should be a fun one. I'm not excited for the actual physical move part because I'm not a mover. I've in college, I was in my freshman dorm and then I moved into an apartment where I stayed the rest of my time. I went to Corpus for a year and then I was up I've been here. This is my 4th season in Madison now. We've been in the same spot the entire 4 years. I'm not a mover. I don't like moving. So if I don't have to move, I choose not to most of the time, but I am excited for once we get settled in. The actual physical move part, like I said, I don't want to be moving filing cabinets. I don't want to be doing this sort of stuff. I just have to keep my head up. No, hey, it's going to be pretty sweet when we get over there. Office space, team store, going to be sweet. We're pumped for it.
Well, that's like the big news of the day, so wanted to start off the show with that. Some other big news that I saw, I think it was earlier today, was that there's a postponed game, which I feel like you always see this whether it's in college or juniors, or this always happens around this time of year, is teams will get sick, and then obviously if you're on a team, you're around each other all the time, then like everybody gets sick, and there's always just a couple of these games that happen, I feel like, around this time of year, kind of around December. And we just had an announcement a couple hours ago, I want to say, that the game between Sioux Falls and Des Moines has been postponed due to the flu.
Gosh.
Drew, I don't know if you had any more info on that, but it sounds like it was pretty bad for Sioux Falls.
Yeah, it sounds like they got hit pretty hard. And yeah, I think it's upwards of 10 people on the team, if not more. Sioux Falls, not that, what are we doing here? Sioux Falls actually will have, they actually come to Madison this weekend. So interested to see their plan of attack here the next couple of days. Because if you're too sick to play today, that means you're probably not having practice today. You're probably not having practice tomorrow. Travel day on Thursday and then a game on Friday. Whether you practice before you leave, they're also down their head coach, their top scorer, and one of their top defensemen, all at the World Junior A Challenge too. So they're already short-staffed. But then you add in the flu bug and everything going on there. I hope their travel is safe and that the rest of them, like you have 11 that are sick right now. What happens when those 11 hop on a bus on Thursday to come to Madison and the
Oh,
other 12
gosh.
that are on the bus, plus staff, everybody involved. Like, it's gonna be interesting for sure. Obviously, we hope they get through it and they're able to play at full strength. But yeah, just a weird tie in there where the Caps play them in 3 days. So like, I'll get to see it firsthand. Hopefully, I'm not getting sick too. I'm gonna have to start popping the vitamins, ready to go.
Yeah, I feel like that's
So
gonna be the type of game where you're like, don't 6 feet away, please. Like, don't. I
yeah,
don't.
I need the masks back.
Because it'd be like, I'm not getting the flu. Don't give me your flu. No thanks.
Yeah, like Jim, I appreciate you coming. Jim, of course, their president and also their broadcaster. Jim, I appreciate you coming. I'm going to need you to stay on your side of the booth here. I'll stay on mine. We'll broadcast the game and we'll go about our ways. If you want to talk, here's my number, 320. Not saying the rest. But yeah, shout out. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have any funny stories of that stuff happening. I remember there was a couple of times over the years where I've gone to a St. Cloud State game, obviously, and I've gone to the press conference after, and you could tell like maybe something was up a little bit. Like players will obviously take a shift and then they'll like run off the bench, and you're like, oh, that was odd. And I think one year I want to say it was Spencer Meyer, maybe they said was like going off like taking a shift and then would go off the ice and like throw up and like come back. And I remember there's been a couple of times where I hear stories like that. I'm like, that sounds like it's just brutal if you're one of those players and you're trying to play through it. I'm like, I can't even imagine trying to play through the flu. Like that's just, and if you're a player on the ice, you'd be like, just like if it's a face off, just don't.
Yeah, maybe they
Stop.
Here's something they should be doing this weekend. Anytime they go in for a face-off, they should start coughing right before the puck's about to drop. Get our guy to back
True,
off.
gross, dude.
No, but it's like a fake out, even if they're not sick. I'm not trying to give away the playbook here. I want the Caps to win, but
yeah, and I
just
remember
created the genius here.
2 or 3 years ago too, I remember I went to another St. Cloud State presser and they won, but it seemed like they were a little off. And I remember going to the press conference and Brett was like, yeah, about a third of the team is like throwing up. And I was like, oh cool. God. Good to know. So it's always strange sometimes. I feel like it's always a December thing though. December, January. There's just always happens.
And teams and locker rooms are like little petri dishes because you're all stuck together. You're on the bus. If you're of age, you're going out to the bar with your teammates, and I'm not sure how many people at the bar are going, oh, 1 second, or sneezing into their shirts. I think they're just sneezing right into each other's cups of Gatorade.
Yeah. So always interesting. I hope they all get better and it does not spread to any of the other teams because that would be unfortunate. So that was a bit of some interesting news that we saw. Another big thing here that came out recently was, I think it's the first tender, if I'm not wrong, because tenders just started recently that you could sign players to tenders. And the first one has come out. It's a tender for Tri-City, a guy whose name is Dominic Stefan Domankos. I probably did not say that in the correct accent, so I'm sorry if I butchered that. He's a guy who's actually originally from Slovakia, 15-year-old forward, but he's playing for Windy City right now, so he's obviously in America playing, and his stats are great. He's just tearing it up. He's leading the team in scoring, so that's a big one. And every year, I kind of never know how many tenders we're going to see. Sometimes it's like, oh, this team will have a couple, and other teams might not have any. You never know. So the first one is out. I don't know if either of you know anything about this player. I did not, but obviously he's an international guy playing in Illinois, so not necessarily in our Minnesota sphere at all.
I don't know a ton about him. The connection there, I would imagine Windy City Storm, Tri-City Storm. I'm not like trying to be Nostradamus here by any means. I'm pretty sure those two are connected, if I'm not mistaken. Tri-City made the change on logo a couple of years ago, and they have the same logo as the youth program now. So that's probably a nice in for the staff. Yeah, tenders were able to be offered, I believe, November 7th or November 9th, somewhere in that range. Second weekend in November. So not a surprise that one of the international ones was signed earlier. Typically that'll happen. The international tenders will sign a little bit earlier. There'll be some right before the OHL draft. But then there are some way early or even some after the OHL draft. But the Euros specifically will sign earlier typically due to the fact that they're not going to have to worry about making the NTDP. Those Euros typically aren't going in the OHL, CHL, WHL, whatever leagues international drafts, because those international drafts, they only have so many selections. I think it's 2 or 3 rounds, and they want a player that's going to make an impact next season most of the time there. So shout out Dominic, Stefan, Damankos. I'm just glad we go to Tri-City next year, and they come here this year, which means we go there next year, which typically means I won't have to say that name because that's a long road trip and I probably won't go with.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been, like you said, Drew's connections between Windy City and Tri-City and with Euros and stuff. Because one guy currently in college hockey, we talk about on the college pod, Miami's Ilya Morozov. He played for Windy City, and then I think he was a tender that year, and then played Tri-City, and now is at Miami. So obviously, there's some connections there of guys that'll play international and then come play a year at Windy City, and then will play at Tri-City and do really good.
There's another connection between Windy City and the USHL, and it's a pretty stark connection. Do you guys know what it is?
I don't off the top of my head. Peter, do you want to enlighten us?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. So Ryan Ward, the head coach of the Youngstown Phantoms, was the head coach of Windy City when they were 13s and considered the best 13-year-olds in the country. And Jack Hextall ended up with Youngstown after playing for Ryan with the Windy City Storm. I don't know if Morozov was on that team, but there are a ton of dudes in the USHL that were on that. I think they were an 08 birth year. Like Nathan Hawad was on that team. I know he's in the USHL right now. Caden Dabrowski, I'm not quite sure where he ended up. But I've always thought it was interesting that Coach Ward knew Jack Hextall so well and then got him as a young player with Youngstown. So I love those little connections like that. And if you know a player really well, and I think we see a lot of USHL programs hiring guys that have experience at the AAA or Tier 1 level because they know the birth years so well, then why wouldn't you hire somebody like that? And if you're in a management position, why wouldn't you tender or draft players that you know so well?
Ryan Ward was the director of player development for Tri-City while he was the head coach at Windy City. So there's that connection.
Oh, look at that.
Even more. Yeah, so that would be the 08 class you said, right?
I think it's 08, yeah.
Yeah, so the Stefan kid would have been an 11 at that point. But, I mean, yeah, it just shows the connection there for sure. I think Youngstown actually has their GMs are both coaches with different junior programs. Like I'm pretty sure Little Caesars is one of them. Deskins and Kosicki, I want to say, are the names of their GMs there.
Deskins is definitely Little Caesars for sure.
Yeah, and then Trevor Edwards, I want to say, is the name for Dubuque, their GM. He's a coach for Pittsburgh Penguins Elite. So, yeah, a lot of those coaches or a lot of those teams have their GMs or have people in spots where they're scouting the people because they're already there coaching them, right? It's a chance for them to see them already when they're 14, 15 years old, and then they come into their program and make an impact. Like, I'd love to have a Jack Hextall on my team, no doubt about it.
Yeah, looking through some of those rosters from Windy City on teams that Morozov was on, or some of these other guys too. Like you said, there's Hawad, who's a D1 commit, Dabrowski, who's in Dubuque, I believe. He's a Merrimack commit right now, so a lot of D1 guys, and a couple guys who are now in the dub too. Tyus Sparks, I know, is in the dub. Calder Varga. So there's a lot of like pretty big names that came out of that from that class. So a lot of familiar names I'm sure people might know. So kind of crazy there, going on a little bit of a tangent, but talking a little bit about some of the players of the week. No Minnesotans this week. I know we were kind of on a roll there a few of the weeks with 1 or 2 Minnesotans, but Tynan Lawrence has been kind of making a splash here since coming back from injury. He's the USHL forward of the week. D of the week, Andrew O'Sullivan. He's a Colgate commit, and the goalie of the week, Joey Slavic Drew. I never know. He saved 66 of 69 through 3 games recently, and he's a former NTDP goalie. I believe is currently uncommitted too. So we'll see if that happens here at some point. But otherwise, yeah, those are the players of the week. No Minnesotans, unfortunately. But I just want to do the ones for this week. I didn't need to go back to last week's at all. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like we previously mentioned, the World Junior A Challenge is coming up here pretty soon. I believe that starts on the 7th. So that's coming up in just a few days. Justin Graff added to the World Junior A Challenge roster. He's actually a guy who was a Merrimack commit, but recently no Merrimack logo next to his name. So that's notable. He's leading Cedar Rapids in scoring. And his brother, I believe, is Colin Graff, who is in the NHL right now. So pretty talented family there, which is crazy.
Good genes.
Yeah, good genes.
He was an injury replacement on the World Junior A Challenge. I don't know exactly who he replaced, but that's why he was a late ad, because the team's at camp as of yesterday. They're up in Trois-Rivières in Quebec. So home of the Lions, right? I think they just won. I don't know what their
I'm not even going to
French
try
name
to say
is.
that.
But that's what they're the Lions of some sort. They're the reigning ECHL, no longer the East Coast Hockey League. Got corrected on that one once. They're the reigning ECHL champs up there in Trois-Rivières.
All right, I got one more thing on Justin Graff. Years and years ago, Justin Graff was just a little wizard from Team New England who was named most valuable player at the North American Hockey Showcase. And all I remember is that he had this hair that was parted perfectly down the middle and came to about here. He looked like he could have been on Home Improvement as one of the Taylor kids.
Should have casted him.
They should have.
Allen, where are you at?
That's great. I love the random tangents we go on, but that seemed like a pretty warranted add to the roster because he's got 24 points in 21 games. So obviously he's leading the team in scoring. We'll see where he ends up, though, since he doesn't have the Merrimack logo by his name. His brother Colin played 1 year at Union and then transferred to Quinnipiac and played 2 years there. And now he's in the San Jose Sharks organization playing in the NHL right now, which is crazy. And won that 1 year with Quinnipiac and the Bobcats. So we'll see. I'm not sure. A couple shout outs. Brock Fairbanks, Gentry Academy alum, scores his first USHL goal for Muskegon. He was actually playing in the Null in New Mexico and got called up and has been doing pretty good. He's actually one of our APX advising clients, so that was cool to see him get his first goal in Muskegon. And obviously they've been rolling. They're still at the top of the Eastern Conference standings with 36 points, which is pretty crazy. And then I forgot about talking about this too. The USHL, CHL players on World Juniors rosters. We did talk a little bit about World Juniors on the college pod, so we don't need to talk about like the college players necessarily. But obviously the World Junior preliminary roster did get released on Monday. And obviously there's plenty of Minnesotans. I believe it's 8 on the roster. And it's all names people are pretty familiar with. I don't know if either of you had any names that you thought would have maybe made it or guys that you were just excited to see. I know plenty of people were excited to see AJ Ryotzel's name on there because I don't believe he was at the summer showcase. So I think he might have been an ad. So kind of cool to see some of those guys. And obviously Caleb Heil is on there as well. So cool to see 2 of 3 goalies from Minnesota. That's kind of cool. And yeah, I don't know if you guys had any players that you thought maybe got snubbed or left off, or some people had very strong feelings about this online.
Peter, I want to hear about your snubs. Which snubs do you think? Because you're laughing.
Well, I hate to think of things as snubs because people love to be, oh, you got snubbed. Okay, who are you kicking off the team?
Exactly.
Who are you going to kick off the team to replace? And I think the easy ones to pick out are Cullen Potter and Will Zellers, super skilled players who bring a lot of creativity and speed and scoring ability. But I went to the World Junior Media Breakfast over the summer, and Bob Motzko and John Van Beesbrook, God bless them, they sat in front of a room of a bunch of media jugheads eating scrambled eggs and sipping cardboard coffee, and they answered any question that people had. But they kept talking about, and I've always wanted to ask one of them this to their face, they kept talking about finding players who are willing to fill the role of a grinder and getting talented players to accept being on the third line or the fourth line or the third D pairing. And I thought, and then again, I'm an idiot. Well, geez, why don't you guys just go find players that are really good grinders and tell them they're going to be on the third line because they'll be thrilled just to be on the team. And then you don't have to play this, well, geez, I got to get Colin Potter to play on the fourth line and kill penalties, which I'm sure he probably could. But I think they added a little bit of sandpaper with a couple of those guys, maybe at the expense of some of the more skilled players like Potter and Zellers. Drew, I don't know if you have a different opinion, but I'm not going to – I'll wait until the games are played to second guess any roster moves.
Yeah, I mean, both of those players are great. The thing I would say is very much like what you just said. How many top 6 players can you have on a team? And will a player kill penalties? Will a player do those sort of things that MVP of the USHL is not going to want to do? Now, by no means am I saying they should leave Will Zellers at home or Colin Potter at home for that sort of thing. No, it's weird. We're playing at home too, so like I guess if you leave them at home, you're leaving all of them at home, right? But basically, I agree with exactly what Peter just said. Is we had a player, Quinn Finley, who's now at Wisconsin. He wasn't like a favorite by any means to make the roster a couple of years back, and he was added and played in every game, was a fourth liner in every game, and killed penalties. How many times did Quinn Finley kill penalties throughout his career? Not a ton. He was the top line guy when he was in Madison, top line guy when he was in Chicago, top line guy with the Badgers now, but he came in and filled that role. And I don't know if it's something they see at summer camp that they're like, oh, this kid can actually kill penalties, or this kid's not going to be able to. Obviously, it's cool to see the Minnesota kids. Caleb, on my side, it's cool to have the only active USHL player on Team USA coming out of our program. It's cool that I sit down and talk with Caleb twice a week up until this past week. And like, obviously he's up in Trois-Rivières with the World Junior A Challenge team. So he's just representing his country for 6 weeks here. Pretty cool honor, I would say, if you're him. But yeah, I mean, you got to have guys that can kill penalties. I'm not saying Will Zellers can't kill penalties or Colin Potter can't kill penalties. I'm going to trust the guys that are put in place more than what I would think, though. It would be sweet if you could just run up the scoreboard and have 13 guys that can score 30 points in the tournament. That's just not going to happen, though. You're going to have times when you're going to be on a 5-minute penalty kill in the tournament. You have to have guys that can get pucks deep in that case, win a draw when you need them to. Even something that small could come back to be the reason why a certain player made a team. Sydney, I'll take you back to St. Cloud State's 2021 national championship game runner-up run overall. Will Hammer on that team was one of the most important pieces. He was a fourth line center. I kind of agree with Peter in the case where why don't they just get the best fourth liner out there? The issue is the foot speed probably isn't there, and you probably need a little more skill than the typical fourth liner. But I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have just like some absolute meathead that has 175 penalty minutes in the null, but wins every single faceoff he goes into out there playing against like I was about to say the Russians. They're not in the tournament playing against the Canadians, but yeah, I mean, you have to have a little bit of sandpaper, like Peter said, and I think they went the right direction. Like, who am I to be the judge to say that they made the wrong call? I'm going to trust the different St. Cloud grad and Bob Motzko to captain the team the way he wants to captain it, even though he might not be the most favorable coach for his program at the moment. With the Long Island loss, I get to comment on those once in a while.
Well, so we'll see with that roster. I believe they still have to make a couple of cuts, so it's not like the official final roster quite yet. Those were the big names people were talking about that they wanted to see, but I didn't see anyone that had like major issues with the roster or anything. But obviously, people a little curious about Colin Potter because he's a first-round draft pick. Will Zellers obviously has had a really good past couple of weeks here. 1, 2 you guys did mention a non-Minnesotan, but Ethan Wittenbach for Quinnipiac, he's leading their team in scoring right now. Another Flames prospect. And then another goalie, too, some people I saw were surprised that didn't make it, was Harrison Bettinger, I think is how you say his last name. The former NTDP goalie. He's playing in the Dub right now and has a .926 save percentage. So I know some people, too, were thinking maybe he'd make it because he's a little taller, too. So he's kind of one of those prospects people are always talking about. But otherwise, nothing I thought like super crazy glaring with that roster. But
Bettinger, I wonder if it's the year older for Riles on that side versus Bettinger being an 07, he can go next year, and they want to get that experience to potentially build another guy for down the line. If you need a world championship roster, to have another goalie that's had some international experience there.
For sure. Yeah, and I never know how to scout goalies as well either, so I have less comments on the goaltending side of things, but we'll talk about the final roster whenever that's posted. In other international competition, we did have the CHL USA Prospects Challenge. I'm not going to delve too much into like the games themselves, but Canada and USA, we talked about this a little bit on the College Pod as well, did like a super overtime, which was pretty crazy since they needed to decide like, okay, you both won a game. Let's just do an overtime called the super overtime. And, obviously the Plant family has been having a great run here so far this fall. And Victor Plant now gets all the hype and he wins it in overtime for the super overtime for Team USA. So that's super cool. And I heard a lot of good positive buzz too about other Minnesotans like Wyatt Cullen, and some of the other guys on the roster too. And one thing I wanted to point out as well is Lincoln Keene was added to the USA roster, and he's one of those guys I said that you need to watch out because he was added, like his rights were added back to, I forgot what team it was, Sioux Falls, Sioux City, because he's currently at Arizona State, but he's kind of one of those. I'm like, would he ever go back to juniors? I don't know. So that was a little interesting to me, eye-popping a little bit. But I don't know how you guys felt about his super overtime, but I thought that was pretty cool and obviously fun to see a Minnesotan that we know and love getting the overtime game winner there, which is really cool.
Yeah, cool on that side. The Lincoln Keene piece, he's draft eligible this year. He wasn't draft eligible last year. I think that's probably playing a big piece into why he was able to go, similar to like when a USHL player leaves to go and play. I think Blake Zielinski went and played. He's draft eligible, and I'm guessing NHL scouts kind of tell the NTDP, hey, we want to see more of this guy. What I would say from this event, the NTDP is 3-5 against the USHL, the U17 or U18s, 3-5 against USHL teams this year. I take back most of what I said. I said, does the CHL want us to send our actual best players at that age range? Because I don't know how well it'll go. The NTDP made me eat my words on that one. Like last year, Riker Lee didn't go, for example, and he was a first-round pick. Zielinski went this year, so they take 1 or 2 kids each year. But the NTDP competed. They win one game. The other game was close. Like it was tied with 7 minutes left in the third period. Obviously, the CHL fans are going to say, oh, well, they play together all the time, so that's why, which plays a part in it. Don't get me wrong, but the USNTDP U18's best player was playing for CHL in that game. JP Hurlburt was on the other side of that. On the other side of that, it wasn't like he was playing for that NTDP. This NTDP squad has battled through some stuff. They've had to add kids to their roster full time. Like Nick Bogus was a defenseman for Waterloo last year. He's playing for the U18s, and he comes in and fills a role on the defensive side. And the U18s take a game. I thought the second game probably would go to the CHL. It was a lot closer down the stretch. And yeah, I mean, I think it speaks highly to the USHL is the big takeaway from that. I'm not saying the USHL is a better league than any of the CHL leagues, but it is something where it's like, oh, the USHL can be like, that's one of our teams, and they showed well. It's one of the teams that's towards the bottom of our league, and they showed well in that event too. So, I would like to see the 7th place team in a conference or 8th place team in a conference of the CHL, any of the CHL leagues go and play in that event against the CHL All-Stars of that draft age and see what happens. Because I don't know if that's going to be the case where they split and go to overtime and Victor Plant scores the overtime winner.
For sure. Yeah, so that was kind of just a fun thing I thought I'd mention. Don't need to get into super crazy specifics or anything of the games. Not going to go through goal by goal or anything.
That's Sydney going like this.
USA, USA. Moving on to a couple of commitments that I saw, a couple of non-Minnesotans that I'll just run through, and if any of you have any comments on them, go for it. But Aiden Dyer plays for the Steel, committed to Ferris State. He was previously a Lowell commit, and there's a lot of people who were Lowell commits who either decommitted or flipped recently, which is kind of interesting. But he's an 05 birth year forward, has 7 points this year, and wears an A for the Steel, I believe. Teddy Merrill of Dubuque commits to Arizona State. He's from Arizona, so that's kind of cool to see, and he's tied for the most points for Dubuque and is also a captain, so that's kind of a cool commit there. Nate Deladonna of Des Moines committed to RIT. He's a guy who's got 13 points this year. He's from New York. And Charlie Emmons committed to Bentley. He's an age-out defender this season from Michigan. Previously was playing in the Null with Lone Star. I remember watching a Lone Star game he was in. I believe his brother John, unless they're cousins or something, plays in Miami, Ohio, because I think him and John played against each other in a Null game I was watching. I think it was like Minot and Lone Star at the Robbie Cup finals one year. I don't remember what year it was or anything, but that's a couple of the commitments. And then one, too, I wanted to mention one of our APX guys committed this weekend, and Riley Zupfer, who is a Minnesotan, so obviously more people will recognize that name. He committed to Notre Dame. I want to say it was Sunday night. I forgot which exact day, but he's been one of the good top guys in Des Moines this year, and he was one of Hill Murray's top guys last year as a sophomore, so pretty young, but chooses Notre Dame. And obviously, shout out to our other sponsor, APX. Like I always say, you can go to apx-hockey.com and you can look up all of your training development or advising needs on there, or you can click on news and you can read all of my stories. And hopefully I'm talking to Riley here within the next week or so, and we'll write something up about him. But those are kind of some of the commitments I know. I don't know if any of you guys had any notes on any of those guys at all. I know Zupfer is the only Minnesotan, and kind of a couple of guys from all over the place there a little bit.
Teddy Merrill's the only one I want to bring up. Last year, Teddy Merrill was one of my least favorite players the Caps had to play against. He was just a fourth-line grinder type of player. With the development path that he's on, he now steps into a bigger role with players moving on, and I think he, with a couple others, including one that we're probably going to talk about here in a couple minutes about the decommitment side, but he and a couple others have just been there for 3 years, and you see the development and, hey, I've been here for this long. I should be one of the best players in the league, so I'm going to become one of the best players in the league. I can dump pucks in deep like we were talking about with the World Junior roster, but I can also do this sort of thing and put pucks in the back of the net and collect points. So good for him to commit to Arizona State. They don't get too many hometown guys going there just because there's not a ton of hometown guys there, right? Like I think you could probably count the amount of Arizonans that go to Arizona State on one hand. Obviously, I think the Coyotes program, the junior Coyotes, develops more and more, but hopefully that changes where they're just a hot spot. They're a hot spot right now, and that's why they're struggling, because it's so warm there, and that's why the NHL team left, right? But it's cool for Teddy Merrill. That's the only one I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, for sure. So those are some of the commitments there, and a couple of decommitments. Again, everyone always makes fun of me because I'm looking at all the line charts all the time, but that's just what I do. I love to catch all the decommitments. It's very interesting to me. And like I said, a lot of UMass Lowell guys either decommitting or flipping recently, one being Nick Romeo. He's currently playing, I believe, for Cedar Rapids, and also not a USHL guy, but Lucas Bush, who's actually a former Maple Grove player. He committed to UMass Lowell, I want to say, his senior year of high school in the spring, I want to say, and now he's playing in the BCHL in like Surrey, I believe, and he didn't have the logo next to his name about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. So UML kind of a lot of people flipping or decommitting there, which is interesting. And then another Minnesotan too that I did not see a logo next to his name, Reese Wallen, former YZeta captain. So people might be familiar with him. Currently playing in Des Moines. And then one guy who's not a Minnesotan, but a guy I have interviewed and written about a couple of years ago was Charlie Arend, who plays in Dubuque. He was an Ohio State commit. And I want to say he was a guy who was playing with like Mission, I think, for AAA hockey. He's like their top line center right now, and he does not have Ohio State next to his name anymore. So question mark on some of those guys. We'll see kind of what happens.
They have a couple of players that are decommitted up front, don't they? Like with Cooper Conway and him now, both
That's
I
true,
think
yeah,
on their
Conway
top
as well.
line. So I wonder if they both have. I don't know if they have the same agent or advisor, but it is kind of weird to see multiple players on a top line of a team. That has to go back to National Signing Day, though. That would be my one takeaway from that is they probably wanted to go in. I think Aaron's in 06, so he doesn't want to play his age out year, and Ohio State probably wanted him to, would be my guess, but who knows, right?
Yeah, that type of thing definitely makes sense because you look at it too, and guys like Aaron have already played. He's in his third year of USHL, so I think a lot of people are like, okay, obviously, like if you got to do it, you got to do it. But if you've played 3 years of juniors already, like 3 full years, you're probably ready to find somewhere that'll take you in next year instead of playing a fourth full season because that's a lot. He's been 3 full years in Dubuque. Obviously, he's doing pretty good, but you want to kind of move on. So definitely wouldn't blame him if that's the reason.
I think Aaron and Emmons, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, whatever, I'm hemming and hawing here. I think Aaron and Emmons were youth hockey teammates with one of the last Chicago Young Americans teams before CYA coalesced into Windy City.
Interesting. Nice. We got some good Chicago tidbits, I guess.
Could he end up at Bentley then? That's the only reason I bring it up. If Charlie and Charlie are buddies and Charlie Emmons just said, I'm heading to Bentley, dog, where are you going?
I feel like that'd be kind of a big get for Bentley, but I mean, you never know. Obviously, shout out. What's their coach's name? Andy Jones. We always like to joke that Tony's best friends with Andy Jones now because he went out there. What was it this summer or something? So
stop telling him he's best friends with people. Stop doing it.
We love to joke about Bentley on the College Pod and just say shout out to them because Andy Jones is a Minnesotan, and I want to say he played high school hockey at like Minnetonka, I think, like hockey and baseball. I want to say something like that because he's a Minnesotan. So we love to cheer on Bentley from time to time because they got some Minnesota ties there. But random Bentley tangent. But a few other other league notes in the dub. Boomer DeMars got his first dub goal for Penticton, so that was a cool one to see recently. One goalie who I've seen that's been really good lately in the dub is Xavier Went has been really good lately, and he's a goalie that I've always really liked what I've seen from him in net. And obviously, I'm not a goalie scout; that's not my forte or anything. But he's been doing well. He's got a .925 save percentage right now, so I think he's doing really good. I'll be interested to see where kind of his hockey path and future take him here. And I was going to look at the Null standings maybe, but we've already had a pretty long show, so I don't need to get on it too many tangents here because I also know that, Drew, we got some good funny stuff here as well at the end of the show today.
Yeah, and I muted Curtis here in Sioux City, but I think this is the video of the week that people were all over the goalie fight going on between Green Bay and Sioux City. This was Henriquez. I know we probably have some tidbits on him. Very odd nationality combo that he's got. Maceo Phillips jumping around on the bottom of the screen. He gets a suspension for coming off the bench, but he's hyped. Look, he's amped up. He's jumping around like he's a little kid. We like to see it. He's hyped about some hockey, so are we. But yeah, Enriquez, Sid, I know you had some notes on him.
Yeah,
He's going up against Ryder Shea
this
there.
was like very interested because obviously when you see the name Roberto Leonardo Henriquez, I don't expect to see place of birth Bratislava, Slovakia. So I thought that's super cool. I just looked up his name on Elite Prospects a while ago because I thought that was a crazy combo, and it says nation Slovakia / Dominican Republic. So that is very interesting. I don't know what his backstory or background is. But I thought that's really interesting because I think he was just also named to the preliminary roster for Slovakia's World Juniors team. So that's kind of cool because you see all the names with like the accent and stuff, and then his says Henriquez. So I'm just curious on what his background is because that's crazy. I feel like you don't really get that combo too often of Slovakia and Dominican Republic. So love to see it. I just thought that was super cool.
I think they have a couple. I think it's all three of their goalies are USHL goalies too. So that's a cool tidbit for the Slovakians there going in. So yeah, that's kind of the plug on that one as we transition. There's a couple of fun ones. We're gonna go to the comments of the week. So they were gonna call a penalty that doesn't even exist in the league rule books. Got it. Who cares about that part? The part I want to bring everyone's attention to is the penalty minutes in that game on Saturday night between Green Bay and Sioux City. 183 minutes combined between the two teams. Power play's got to be working a little better than 1-for-8 Musketeers. That's probably why the Gamblers were able to come away with the win in that one. But yeah, I mean, 183 minutes and Pim's kind of nuts there on that side. Good thing they have the double referee crew, Jaden Pringoni and Sean Hoppy. Shout out the two refs in that game. Tough night to be calling penalties with that many. Of course, that comes back to the goalie fight that's involved in that. And they actually both get 2-game suspensions for the goalie fight. That's something a lot of fans probably don't realize is with the goalie fight, they remove the mask. That's a penalty. They took their helmet off on their own to fight. And then they also went to center ice to have a staged fight, which is a game on its own too. So you won't be seeing those two. Henriquez, I would guess, being on the preliminary roster, he's either gone this weekend or next. If he's gone next weekend, he's out until after World Juniors, more than likely, with only 3 goalies on the preliminary roster for Slovakia. If he's here, if he's already leaving this weekend, that suspension would still be served, I believe, this weekend. So little note there is that they'll both be out. A whole bunch of suspensions from that series. So interesting. And then we have one more. Sid pointed this one out. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Who has the most surprising team in the first quarter of the USHL season? Really, I think we're closer to halfway through. It's kind of crazy to say that at this point of the year. 62-game season. I think some teams have their 25th game. So if we were playing 100 games quarter, we're about a third of the way through, though. Cedar Rapids gets the most votes. Mark Carlson running a good show down there at the moment. But we want to bring your attention to Mike Minnick, top contributor in the comment section. Omaha has surprised me that they actually got worse this year. I feel like it's not a podcast here for us if we don't roast Omaha at some point.
That's so mean.
Roasted.
It's just so mean.
I was going to add just some context. I was just trying to see if I could find more background on Henriquez. And Green Bay wrote a story. I don't know when because there's no date on it or anything on who wrote it in the past. But it said, I just thought this was cool, so I'd add it in here. But it says that his dad is from the Dominican Republic and his mom is from Slovakia. And he was born in Bratislava and played youth hockey there, which is super cool. So shout out because that is like
it's a true Romeo and Juliet story.
I think that's super cool. Because sometimes you see those people who have like dual citizenship or it'll say the split nations on Elite Prospects, and usually it's just USA, Canada. It's usually not anything that interesting. But I was like, that's an interesting one. That's cool. So
that's a cool one. I want to hang out with that guy.
So shout out. I thought that was awesome.
He'll get beat up, dude.
Yeah, he'll start
if I hang out with a Slovakian Dominican kid.
Goalie
Check
fight.
that out.
He's winning that fight for sure. So
I wouldn't say anything to him. What I really want to do
Joey
is eat
Memes
dinner at his house.
Joey Memes, we need you to crop Peter's face on 31 for Sioux City here so we can post that.
I mean, I got to say, Henriquez definitely won that fight. So
Oh yeah, he ends up on top of him. Look at, he's an
But
animal.
I mean, I love too that after this fight too, they're like patting each other on the back. It looks like they had a blast in the goalie fight, which
Well,
is
Nice
hilarious.
in
job,
the
bro.
clip, you can
Yeah.
see like you can tell when the goalie fight's about to start because they all just stop fighting and they all just like go to center ice. Like
They
they're
just
like,
wanna watch
"This
it.
is awesome. Let's go watch." Adam Tim, nice clean up there to make sure the sticks don't trip a player. But I think that they could have used the stick because it looked like 31 took a spill there early on.
Nice. Well, I don't think I had anything else to add. I think that's pretty perfect as we're nearing the 1 hour mark here for the show today. Again,
I
as
think we're
usual,
good.
huge thank you to our sponsors, the USHL and to APX. We appreciate it, and I hope you guys think this was another funny but hopefully informative episode of the YHH Juniors pod. And for myself, for Peter, and for Drew, thanks so much for listening, and we'll have another episode coming out next week.